Okay.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
All right, very nice to meet you. Appreciate you taking some time out of your this quiet, dead Monday to talk to us. And I'd like to start at the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey? You look like a fairly young man. I read a little bit about your bio that you've been doing this for how many years now, Andrei?
Almost 10 years now.
Okay, 10 years and no gray hair. Congratulations. Tell us about the beginning of your journey, Andrei, and how you got involved in the trading business. I did notice that you write code. Was it your technical background that led you to the markets, or was it the other way around?
It was the other way around. Actually, I first started trading forex when I heard about the brokers that allow to start with small amounts of money, like $5, $10, and so on.
Okay,
It
and
was
you could,
marketing.
and that you could trade for a living with $5, $10, right?
Yes, I could afford to try that, and that sounded attractive to spend some little money to earn big money. But that was,
Okay.
of
Well,
course.
at least if you blew that account out, it shouldn't have hurt you. It was just, maybe lunch money or a cup of coffee. Where do you trade from? It sounds European to me.
Yes, I trade from Ukraine.
Okay. All right. So, why don't you tell us about the beginning of your journey and who influenced you? Did you have mentors? Are you self-taught? And then perhaps you could share your screen and talk a little bit about what you're doing now with your blog.
Okay, as I have said, I started with Marketiva back in 2005. And I blew my first like 5 accounts. Fortunately, they weren't too big. I traded mostly by intuition, like most newbie traders do, probably.
With what, micro lots?
Yes, the platform allowed to trade in units, so there was no limit to how small the position could be.
Okay. And
Um,
what kind of methods did you start with, and what have you evolved into?
it was Euro USD and USD yen, and mostly, as I said, I traded with my intuition, with my gut feeling. I
Okay.
did not have any sort of education or did not read any books on trading, so that wasn't very systematic.
Okay, so you started writing code to put your trading in an automatic pilot. Is that the progression, or did you learn how to chart? Did you take courses? Did you read books? What was your journey like? We understand you were trading
When I
very
lost my
small.
first money, I started to understand that I need something more than my intuition to trade successfully.
Okay, and what was that?
That was books. Uh, my first book was Reminiscence of the Stock Market Operator by
Okay,
Moraru.
right.
Yeah. And it was a very useful read, which made me stop losing money, at least,
O- Okay.
growing my
Yeah,
accounts.
yeah. Jesse Livermore was a legend. We just don't want our lives to end up the same way. He
Then I,
committed he committed suicide.
no, that's not what I prefer to follow.
That's good
So,
to know. So,
uh,
do you know how to share your screen here so we could take a look at perhaps your platform and some of the things you look at in the markets and perhaps get some of your views on uh, what you trade, Euro USD? I'm sure you're still trading those.
currently, I just closed a losing trade on my in my platform.
Okay, that happens. So, do you want to show
Let me
us how you make
come
trade?
to share it.
You want to show us how you make trading decisions and what kind of method you use, or would you prefer that's proprietary?
Let me show you.
How about this? Why don't you show us your blog and what people come to read and what you supply? Either or, because a picture speaks 1,000 words, right? So I saw you trying to put up your platform. That would be great.
Do you see the platform now?
No, it came up for a second and then it disappeared. So
Oh,
you go to that green arrow and then you click it, screen share, and then click the screen you want to share with us. You see that in the upper left-hand corner?
yes, I see that, but when I click it, it just nothing happens.
Okay, I understand that you're showing it. I just can't see it. So why don't you go ahead and now I see it. I'm on you. So we're looking at what here? What are we looking at right here? It looks like a descending triangle breaking down. What market is that? That's the U.S. Oh, you're trading the ruble.
USD ruble, yes.
Okay.
It was a symmetrical triangle which was sloped down a little, but I still hope for the upward breakout, which went horribly, as you can see.
Yeah. And is this because of when the crude oil is recovering, which is a very
Yeah.
important commodity for Russia, that the ruble, USD ruble goes down, meaning the ruble appreciates during times of firm crude, and goes US dollar ruble goes up when crude is under pressure.
It's the classic case when fundamentals are wasting all the technical efforts.
Okay.
So,
How's liquidity in the ruble? Are spreads fairly tight like they are in the majors, or wide?
no, we aren't. We're not tight like in measures, but when times quiet, they're rather tight. But when something goes volatile, the spreads can be like 10% of the quote.
Okay. All right. So
So
it looks to me like you trade with a fundamental bias, and then you look for the technicals to justify it. And how did you come up with an entry and a stop on this trade?
uh, I use only technical factors to set the entry and the exit points in such trades.
Okay.
Um,
So
the
it
entry
looked
point,
it looked before today that we might be coming out of a triangle to the upside, and today that action was negated. What do you do with the ruble now?
I've exited the trade at my stop loss, and currently I'm just waiting for some technical or fundamental factors that could make me trade it again. But I don't see that until probably December.
Okay. And you're a bear on the ruble. You think that both oil prices that are recovering now and the ruble, which is recovering now, is counter trend, and that the major trend is for a weaker ruble, higher U.S. dollar ruble,
As I see,
and weaker energy prices after the end of the year.
as I see it, there is a big debt payment in December for Russian banks and institutions, like 20 billions of dollars.
To who?
So
Who's this payment due to? The IMF?
no, that's
Oh,
just external payments of the financial institutions in Russia. So they have to acquire $20 billion in like 1 month to repay some of the debts.
okay.
Normally, they have like
You're talking about Russian banks owe this money, or the government owes this money?
those include government and private institutions, mostly private, of course.
Okay. So I find it interesting. I didn't know you were in the Ukraine. So do you mind talking a little bit about Putin, or do you fear for your safety if you do?
Uh, talk about what?
Let's talk about Vladimir Putin, because you're trading the ruble. You're trading the ruble. Obviously, you have an interest in what's going on there. You live in the Ukraine. Things have gotten tough in the Ukraine since Crimea. Putin has recently gone into Syria to fill a vacuum. It's also my belief that he wants to generate some geo issues to force up the price of crude for his country's financial survival. What is the feeling in Ukraine now? I heard an analyst say that that the markets were underestimating the risk of Putin. And I interview a guy who writes for the Moscow Times, said now that he went into Syria, he's not going to make any further pushes into the Ukraine. But I've heard people say that he's not going to be done until tanks are rolling in Kiev. What do people think in the Ukraine about Putin, whether or not he's going to continue his adventurism and expansion in the Ukraine?
Personally, I believe that his strategy in Ukraine is to gradually reduce his presence here.
Okay, so you think he's going to withdraw and reduce his presence, and he's focused now on the Middle East?
Yes, something like that.
Okay,
I
so
think he wants to remove some of the sanctions that are pressing on the financial system of Russia.
Okay, so if he cooperates with the U.S. in going after ISIS, he might get that. That might be part of the negotiation.
Yes, actually, his operation in Syria is probably a substitute to show his people that he is not losing anything. He just goes to Syria instead of Ukraine, and he still remains a winner in the eyes of his people.
Okay. Any other currencies that you pay attention to? Being from the Ukraine, do you trade things like zloty and some of the exotics in Eastern Europe?
No,
Go ahead.
I actually don't follow any Eastern European currencies, and one of the reasons I trade USD ruble is because if I go long on USD ruble, it also acts as a hedge for my against the depreciation of the Ukrainian currency, because it is nearly impossible.
They move opposite to each other?
No, ruble and Ukrainian hryvnia usually move in the same direction against the USD, because the currencies are very connected. So that's
I understand now.
And
there's more liquidity in the ruble than there would be in your domestic currency. As far as trading it, there's not a lot. What's the name of the Ukrainian currency again?
Ukrainian hryvnia.
What?
Hryvnia.
Okay, hryvnia. Okay.
U-E-H.
Okay. So, what's your view on what's happening with the euro? You have a view on the euro? You know, we've had some what should have been bullish events for the euro, and there's been very little follow-through. First, we had the flash crash in August, and we went to 117 and failed. Then we had the Fed stand pat, and the euro rallied, then failed on that news. And then Friday, we had a shockingly weak NFP number, and the euro rallied big in an hour, and it's given a lot of it back. What's your view on the dollar?
I do not have active trades or planned trades in Euro USD, but I remain quite bullish on Euro USD because I do not think that the Federal Reserve will be able to raise rates in this year.
Okay. So that's the fundamental. So do you have any areas where if the euro got to it, do you like it from here? Or would you like to buy it lower? Or would you want to wait for confirmation to get long euro at higher levels?
I would not jump into this train without some considerable technical support, and I
Okay.
don't feel it now in the charts. So I will be waiting, probably for October.
Okay, here we are in October, so later in the month possibly?
I mean, October meeting of the Federal Reserve.
I see. Okay, so the OCFed where you expect nothing to happen again. Why don't you show your blog for people that might be interested in following you? Your Twitter handle is at EarnForexBlog, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you like to show the blog and what it looks like? Are you able to do that? This would be like an ad for you, so people could follow you. You want followers, right? And people to read your stuff? Or you don't care?
Do you see what my screen now, or?
I'm still looking at the Ruble Daily.
Oh,
So you'll have to stop sharing and go to a different screen,
okay.
I believe.
And now?
Yes, got it.
Oh,
Okay, so there's your blog.
that's the Twitter of my blogs. That's not
Okay.
the main blog.
Okay, so there's how you could follow Andriy. Am I pronouncing your first name right? Is it Andriy?
Yes.
Okay, all right, and see that you provide weekly technical analysis and you recommend certain brokers and you warn people about scams, and so you're providing a service for people. And it's interesting you do it in English so that most people can follow what you do. I want to thank you for your time today, Andriy.
Thank you very much.
And you know, I hope that your people have peace and a great fall and a great Christmas, and that you're right about Putin and he doesn't cut off your gas supplies this winter.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Good
Thank
luck
you
to
very
you.
much, Andriy.